Welcome to our class, Western Schools of Philosophy. In this video, we are going to cover the concepts like what is naturalism, who are the chief exponents of naturalism, definitions of naturalism, what are the characteristics of naturalism, principles of naturalism, and the types of naturalism. Finally, the relationship between naturalism and education. First, let us see what is naturalism. Naturalism is a kind of philosophical concept which is usually considered the opposite to idealism. See, naturalism is completely opposite to idealism. It is sometimes equated with empiricism or materialism. Empiricism is a Greek word which usually means experience. It is usually an idea in which the learning comes from only experience and observation. And naturalism is not easily distinguished from positivism, atheism, determinism, and scientism. The naturalism in education was a revolution against the education of mastery of books and harsh discipline. The naturalistic movement overthrew that conception of education and made education child-centered. So, naturalism is completely child-centered. The important slogans raised by naturalists were return to nature, break the chains of society. Who are the chief exponents of naturalism? Aristotle, Jean-Jacques Rousseau, Auguste Comte, Thomas Hobbes, Francis Bacon, Charles Darwin, Jean-Baptiste Lamarck, Herbert Spencer, Epicurus. Now let's discuss what are the definitions involved for naturalism. According to George Howard, naturalism is the exclusion of whatever is spiritual. According to Hawking, naturalism considers nature as the whole of reality. According to James Watts, naturalism separates nature from God. What are the characteristics of naturalism? Back to nature, opposition to bookish knowledge, negative education, progressive, freedom of the child, central position of the child, emphasis on training of senses. Nature alone is the source of all knowledge. According to naturalism, it is the whole reality. Mind is subordinate to nature. Material world is the real world according to naturalism. There is nothing like supernatural. All values exist in nature. Scientific knowledge is the final knowledge. In the natural order of things, all human beings are equal. Everything that comes to us from nature is good, but it generates in the hands of man. Man creates these societies to meet some of his needs. Now let's move on with principles of naturalism. The universe is a huge machine. Life comes out of dead matter and is the sum total of physical and chemical reactions. Man, because of his own nature, he is the supreme creation of nature. Thoughts depend on physical circumstances. The present life is the real life. Reality is of the external nature only. The ultimate reality is of matter. See, this God, soul, mind, the heaven and the hell, freedom of will, moral values, prayers, and superhuman wonders, all are illusions. Now let's discuss the types of naturalism. There are three main types of naturalism, friends. Physical naturalism, mechanical naturalism, and biological naturalism. Let's discuss them one by one in detail. Physical naturalism. Physical naturalism studies the processes of matter and phenomena of the external world. In other words, physical naturalism lays more stress on the external material phenomena than the conscious human being. This doctrine, physical naturalism, has no relationship with inner nature of man. It is totally related to only external nature of man, because education is a human process, so it has no effect on physical naturalism. Mechanical naturalism. Naturalists consider the universe as a lifeless, huge machine. Man is a part of this machine and a complete machine in itself. Mechanical naturalism has given rise to modern psychology of behaviorism, which emphasizes the effective principles of learning by doing. Thus, behaviorism does not distinguish between the action of man and the action of animal. But this thought is not accepted universally. Biological naturalism. It is based upon Darwinian theory of evolution. This type of biological naturalism assumes man as a product of evolution. Man, because of his own nature, is the supreme creation of nature, as we discussed earlier. He is termed as the supreme and superior most animal. The main aim of this school is at achieving the present and future happiness of the child. According to biological naturalism, plants have been evolved from common things. Men from animals, animals from insects, and insects from plants. This doctrine has put forward three following principles of evolution, friends. Those are adaptation of environment, struggle for existence, survival of the fittest. Let us conclude this video by discussing relationship between naturalism and education. What are the aims of education? According to social naturalists, the purpose of education is to attainment of present and future happiness, prepare students for the struggle of existence, adaptation to environment, improve racial gains, natural development, autonomous development. Curriculum and naturalism. Curriculum should be related to the aptitudes, interests, and needs of the child. Curriculum should be constructed to meet the needs of the child, and according to nature of development at each stage, science dealing with nature should include physics, chemistry, and botany, etc. These are the branches of science which helps the children to be acquainted with nature. Physical education and health training for self-protection, drawing as the main technique of self-expression. Methods of teaching naturalism. Naturalism has introduced many teaching methods. Some of the important methods are heuristic method, Dalton method, Montessori method, observation method, play method, etc. All these methods are self-learning methods, and as such they are very effective and purposeful. They give full freedom to the child for free expression, which leads to creative and constructive activities. Naturalists oppose collective teaching method because individual attention cannot be paid to each children. Attention cannot be paid to each child. They say that children have individual differences, so individual attention should be paid in teaching them. Science should be learned through the people's own works in the laboratory. Even the apparatus used by the child should be self-invented. Geometry should be learned in its original sense of earth measurement by helping the child in surveying the playground. Learning by doing is the general principle which governs the education. According to naturalism, the methods of teaching, experience is the best teacher, observation method, individualized instruction, self-education, things rather than words, social learning through participation. Teacher and naturalism. According to naturalism, the duty of the teacher is not to deliver knowledge, but to treat a proper environment in which a child will get an opportunity of working in freedom. The role of the teacher should be that of an observer and felicitator. He or she will observe their processes of works and protects them, thereby felicitating the learning process. The role of the teacher should be art of observing, art of suggesting, art of stimulation, and free development of the child. Child and naturalism. A naturalist accepts the child as a hero or a star. The whole process of education revolves around the child as it is a child-centered process. The education proceeds in accordance with his interests and motives. Naturalists lay emphasis on understanding a child much, very much. Naturalists want to give education to a child according to his or her interests. Naturalists do not want to suppress his or her senses and tendencies. His or her in the sense, the child. They believe that a child is not born for education, rather than education is provided for his or her development. Thus, a child is a focal point of naturalistic education and not education or curriculum. Discipline and naturalism. The slogan of naturalism is freedom. This doctrine, supporting emancipatory discipline, emphasizes discipline according to natural consequences. Naturalists do not consider external interference as necessary for discipline. Naturalists believe in discipline by natural consequences. Naturalists accept that nature is a teacher that educates a child in discipline also. Nature punishes one who violates natural laws. So we should allow a child complete freedom and should not give any punishment to him or her. Discipline and naturalism says that no clear-cut goals, neglect of books, negligible importance to higher values, undue emphasis on education through nature, absolute freedom is a myth. Very little role for the teacher. Concept. So by this video, we are going to cover the concepts like what is an idealism, who are the chief exponents of idealism, what are the definitions of idealism, what are the principles involved in idealism, what are the types of idealism, educational implications of idealism. First, let us know what is an idealism. The word idealism is derived from the Greek word idea, which simply means something seen or look of something. Idealism is derived from two words, guys, that are idea and ideals. Idealism contends that spiritual aspects are the chief aspects of human life. Contends means argues. So idealism argues that spiritual aspects are the chief important aspects of human life. Idealism is a philosophy of thought. Who are the chief exponents of idealism? See, few of the Western idealists were Plato, René Descartes, George Berkeley, Hegel, Immanuel Kant. Few of the Eastern idealists were Adi Shankaracharya, Swami Dayananda Saraswati, Sri Aurobindo Ghosh, Swami Vivekananda, Mahatma Gandhi, Rabindranath Tagore, etc. Now let us discuss what are the definitions of idealism. According to Brubaker, idealism is the mind that is central in understanding the world. According to D.M. Datta, idealism holds that ultimate reality is spiritualism. What are the principles of idealism? Come on, let's see. There are two forms of the world, friends. Spiritual world and material world. Spiritual world is more important than the material world. Ideas are more important than objects. Knowledge of mind and soul can be obtained through ideas only. Man is more important than material nature. The prime aim of life is to achieve spiritual values. They are truth, beauty, and goodness. Self-development is much important. Achievement of perfection is the fullest development of the personality of an individual. Idealists believe in the principle of unity in diversity. According to them, implicit in all the diversity is an essential unity. So we all should encourage unity in diversity. What are the types of idealism? Subjective idealism. Leibniz and Berkeley conceived reality in terms of experiences of the individual mind. It concludes that nothing exists in the world apart from our mind. Objective idealism. Immanuel Kant, the founder of objective idealism, presented formalistic or transcendental introspection of the main idealistic principles. Hegel was inspired by Kantian interpretations and he put forward the idea that human world was made up of mind-made objects. Scientific idealism. Scientific idealism was founded by Hermann Cohen. Cohen applied Kant's critical method to humanistic and scientific studies. Ernest Cassirer, who was noted for clear analysis of man, defined scientific idealism as that which creates culture through a unique capacity for symbolic representation. The theistic idealism. It was founded by R.H. Lawes. According to him, all phenomena is found in their unity. The world ground is transcendental synthesis of evolutionary world process, which is both mechanical and theological. This T.H. Green and F.H. Broadley are the followers of R.H. Lawes. Platonism. It is an ancient school of philosophy founded by Plato. Plato believed that his ideas were more real than things. He developed a vision of two worlds, friends. One is a world of unchanging ideas and other world is changing physical objects. According to Plato, truth, beauty and goodness are eternal values, spiritual values. uh, Truth includes intellectual activities, goodness includes ethics, religion, metaphysics, etc. Beauty includes all the aesthetic activities. Absolutism. It describes a political theory. There are two parts of absolutism, friends. First is the divine right. When a ruler has a divine right, it means that he gets powers from God. The second one, there is a social contract. It is when people give up their rights for security. Berkeleyanism or immaterialism. Berkeley summarized his theory with the motto esse est percipi. It means to be is to be perceived, but he went on to elaborate it with God as the source of consciousness, reality, and other particulars. Panpsychism. It is a philosophy which says that all elements of the material world possesses, however, small degree of consciousness. Panpsychism claims that everything is sentient and that there are either many separate minds or one single mind that unites everything that is. Personalism. Personalism is the school of thought that consists of three main principles and which can broadly qualified as pieces of humanism. What are the three main principles are? Only persons are real, only persons have value, and only persons have free will. Finally, let us conclude this video by discussing educational implications of idealism. First, what are the aims of education? Self-realization, development of willpower, to cultivate truth, beauty and goodness, preparation of holy life, development of intelligence and rationality, universal education, to discover and develop each individual's abilities. Yes. Next, idealism and curriculum. The curriculum must include those subjects which are essential for the realization of mental and moral development of individual. The curriculum emphasizes is the subject matter of mind, literature, language, history, philosophy and religion. These all should be included. The subjects should also provide one individual with culture and they should be mandated for all peoples. Moreover, the subject matter should be kept constant for all. See, according to Ross scheme, a complete curriculum in the light of idealism was divided into two educational parts. One is spiritual activities, other is physical activities. Under spiritual activities of curriculum, they should include intellectual, moral, religious, aesthetic development. And the second part, physical activities curriculum should include the care of the body and their skills. Next, idealism and teaching method. The teaching methods according to idealism must encourage the acquisition of facts. It is not sufficient to teach peoples how to think. It is very important that teachers teach peoples think what about to be factual. See, according to idealism teaching methods, Froebel, an idealist philosopher, regarded teaching method as self-stimulated activity or self-activity. According to Pastology, an idealistic teaching method should be in harmony with the development of mind. And this person, Pastology, called the method of acquiring knowledge as Anchang. Next, idealism and teacher. Idealists have high expectations of the teacher. The teacher must be excellent in order to serve as an example for the student, both intellectually and morally. The teacher must also exercise great creativity skills in providing opportunities for all the learners and their minds to discover, to analyze, to unity, to synthesize and to create applications of knowledge to their life and behavior. According to the idealist, teacher occupies the highest place in the process of education. The function of the teacher is to awaken the innate powers of the child. The true teacher destroys the ignorance of the disciple. Disciple in the sense pupil, students. And according to idealism, teacher guides the student, takes the student from darkness to light, gives real knowledge and builds the total and sound personality. In the words of Sri Aurobindo, he is a man He is in the sense teacher. Teacher is a man helping his brothers, a child leading other children, a light kindling other lights, an awakened soul awaking other souls. It is very rhyming, good rhyming, right? In words of Mahatma Gandhi, education of the hair could only be the tone through the living touch of the teacher. Very nice descriptions of both Sir Aurobindo and Mahatma Gandhi. Next, finally, idealism and discipline. The idealism says that the student role is passive. The student is obedient and should have disciplinary attitude. The student should be always controlled by the teacher and follow the instructions strictly. The modern idealists accept the physical and mental differences among the children. While affecting the development in the children, their mental and physical development, interests, attitudes, and needs should be kept in view. In their view, true discipline is being guided by the soul and the beliefs inner discipline. Idealists does not favor free discipline. They believe in strict discipline of the peoples. The teacher should impose discipline upon the peoples and try to prepare an environment which will help them to realize the higher shelves of life through self-discipline. Coming to our concept, pragmatism. Let's discuss meaning of pragmatism, introduction to pragmatism, definition of pragmatism, principles of pragmatism, what are the types involved in pragmatism, and educational implications of pragmatism. First, let's move on with meaning of pragmatism. Etymologically, the word pragmatism is derived from the Greek word pragma, which means activity or work done. Some other scholars think that the word pragmatism has been derived from Greek word pragmatikos, which means practicability or utility. Pragmatism is also called as experimentalism because pragmatists believe experiment as the only criteria of truth. Next, introduction to pragmatism. Pragmatism is the first developed and is derived from the teaching of Charles Sanders Peirce in 1870s. It was revised and reformulated in 1898 by William James. Primarily as a theory of truth, further it was developed, expanded and disseminated by John Dewey and F.C.S. Schiller. Definition of pragmatism. According to James B. Pratt, pragmatism offers us a theory of meaning, a theory of truth of knowledge and a theory of reality. What are the principles of pragmatism? The truth is changeable. This change is according to space, time and situation. As the truth is changeable, in the same manner, the goals and objectives of life are also changeable. Each theory, thought, belief or objects is evaluated on the basis of its goodness or evilness. If its fruit is good, then it will be useful or else not. Thought is always produced from activity. Activity occurs first and then thoughts are produced. Pragmatism holds pluralism. According to pluralism, experience is the test of truth. Man has the power to think. He has the ability to understand a problem, to think about its solution and to work accordingly. Due to his power, an individual is able to adjust to his environment and adapt the environment to him. Man is a social being, so his life grows in the society itself. He makes his life successful in the society. He has no existence outside the society. What are the types of pragmatism, friends? Let's discuss. First type is humanistic pragmatism, which satisfies the human nature is only true and real. According to humanistic pragmatists, whatever fulfills my purpose, whatever satisfies my desire, whatever develops my idea is only true. The second type is experimental pragmatism. Whatever can be experimentally verified is true or whatever works is true. Third type is biological pragmatism. And biological pragmatists say that man has the power by which he adjusts himself to his environment or adapts environment to himself. Let's wind up this video by discussing educational implications of pragmatism. Aims of education. The first aim is to cultivate a dynamic and adaptable mind which will be resourceful and enterprising in all situations of human life, and which will have the power to create new values in an unknown future. The second aim is education must create new values. It's the most general aim of education, guys. The third aim is education should be continuous reconstruction of experiences. Knowledge cannot be fixed or predetermined. It can change, it changes from time to time and circumstance to circumstance. So knowledge can be gained from experience, and experiments is the real knowledge. Content and the pragmatism. According to pragmatists, curriculum for different stages were: at the first stage, reading, writing, arithmetic, study of nature, drawing and handicrafts should be preferred, and at the secondary stage, languages, sociology regarding to society, physical science, maths and health, and especially for girls, home science would be preferred, and for boys, agriculture and science was determined. The principles of pragmatism were: principle of utility, principle of interest, principle of activity, pragmatism and methods of education, principle of experience, principle of integration, principle of linking with life, principle of learning by doing, and principle of integration. Methods of education according to pragmatism were: the teaching method is the best method, which should be based on children's interest and is able to solve the problem of child is most preferable. According to pragmatism, the experimental method, project method and manual training, which is human training, hands-on experience, produces a collective occupational spirit in the school, in which the individual simply acts as a cell in the social body. The teacher and the pragmatism. Pragmatists want the children should discover knowledge on their own, and teachers should play the role of active observer and guide in the discovery of his knowledge. He or she puts the child in the real life situation of his or her own life, so that he might be able to understand his problems and thereby solve them on his own. According to pragmatism, a child is the center of education. The child is naturally self-active and he or she learns by doing. He or she has acquired many experiences through this pragmatism, which gradually shapes his or her own personality. Finally, discipline and the pragmatism. It believes that social discipline based on child's interest, activity and sense of social responsibility. Pragmatism believes that play and work should be combined, and this combination will develop a mental attitude like discipline, interest and sense of purpose. He or she will develop self-confidence, self-reliance, cooperation, sympathy and fellow feeling for others.
Click the bell icon to get latest notifications. Don't forget to like, share and comment. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos and stay tuned to our Innovate Teaching Channel.